welcome to the We Dream Media podcast. I am one of the hosts here, April Nicole Scipio. I'm joined by my brother from another mother, Mitchell Scott. And I just want to start off this episode just sharing kind of what We Dream is, We Dream Media, this podcast. At the end of the day, it is our heart to help you dream media. What do we mean? We want to help you dream about how media can not only share your story, but elevate your entire brand. And we do that in so many ways through helping you maximize your social media efforts to creating content that could be put in commercials to literally just being in your town and spreading the word however you think you want to do that. Well, you dream it up. There are no limits when it comes to We Dream Media. If you can think about it, we can do it. That's why we always say from concept to creation, because man, I don't know about you, Mitchell, but I love to dream. I know that we can, talk about certain things that people can do in terms of media, but it's so fun to sit with a client and think about something that we didn't think about before we talked to them, but just hearing their heart and hearing their dream, really getting to develop something special for them.
I 100% agree. I mean, I love to collab. You said it, like I love walking into a situation thinking I have a good understanding and bring something to the table, but being able to have a conversation with someone and them have their own perspective and them come up with something that I didn't see coming, that excites me. I think probably one of the core principles in me, I don't even need to come up with the best idea, but if I can help contribute to get there, I think that's a giant win also. So yeah, I'm excited about this podcast and I'm excited what we do.
Yes. And as you know, Mitchell, sometimes when we sit down with clients, one of the biggest, I guess, elephants in the room or something I don't want to say afraid of, but something they're really apprehensive about tackling is content creation. For some people, you hear the word content creation and immediately their chest tightens, their throat closes up. They're having an allergic reaction to putting themselves out there. And I'm excited about this series today that we're going to start. And it's all about mastering content creation, because at the end of the day, when you share your story, when you put yourself out there in some capacity, you are creating content. You are creating something that people are going to consume, and they're going to learn more about you. They're going to learn more about your business. They're going to learn more about your mission. And so it's very important that businesses think about how they can create content. And I believe that through this conversation today, businesses and brands are going to really come away with saying, you know what, maybe I can do this. Maybe I actually can create consistent, high quality content. And so we're going to jump into this conversation and we're going to talk about consistency first, and then we'll hit the quality. But Mitchell, when you hear the word consistency in relation to content creation, first of all, why do you think consistency even matters? Like, is this even a relevant conversation? Should we be talking about this?
Well, consistency is giantly important, I think, in many things, but definitely with content creation. And I'll answer something else that you just kind of said. Also, I start to sweat when it comes to consistent. To be honest with you, that's a heavy word for me. I'm definitely one that kind of shoots from the hip, or at least that's my default. And I think over the years I've kind of built skills and different things, but quickly the word consistency makes me sweat a little bit, because when you shoot from the hip, you can get pretty good and you can hit the nail on the head most of the time. Consistently, I mean, maybe. It definitely is a heavy word, and regarding content wise, it also still makes me sweat, which we'll probably get into a little bit. But as far as the importance of consistency when it comes to social media, it's vitally important to keep your brand up, keep it visible, so that people remember and see who you are and what your business is.
And all of that helps them to build trust. So when you show up consistently and I'm getting familiar with who you are and what you do, and I'm seeing that over time, there is a level of trust that I'm going to naturally build with you. And we've said it before. I'm sure you will hear us say it 1,000 times, but people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And so it just makes sense to keep showing up so that people can get to know you. It also helps, establish you as an authority in your industry, right? If you are someone who's consistently sharing content around your idea, around your mission, around your brand, around what you produce, people are going to look to you for that thing, for that solution, for that product, because you are a trusted source. And then, of course, we know, behind the scenes with the algorithm, when you show up consistently, the different platforms, they like that. And so they're going to push out your content a little bit more. But there's so many reasons why people should be consistent. But like you said, Mitchell, sometimes you sweat when you hear that word. And I think people sweat because it feels overwhelming. It feels overwhelming. Am I going to post enough? There are a gazillion, what feels like a gazillion platforms to actually post on. Some people think about, okay, what do I post? I don't have a strategy. I don't have a plan. Then you have other people who have a plan and they love their plan so much and they are afraid that their plan won't work out. And so because they struggle with perfectionism, they're waiting for the perfect post, the perfect moment, the perfect time, the perfect everything. And because they don't recognize that perfection is never achievable, they don't show up consistently. And so I'm really excited to empower our listeners today that you can actually be consistent, and you can be consistent without burning out. You can be consistent without just running out of things to say or running out of ways to reach your audience. Because listen, if you take ownership of who you are and who your business is and your mission, you'll begin to recognize quickly that your business and your brand, that is the content. So, Mitchell, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I could talk about this all day, so I'm like...
Yeah, I mean, you said something about trust, and you talked about being the professional and being the go-to for people because they see and hear you, and they see your professionalism, they see your quality because you're putting it out there, and it takes consistency to do that. I mean, it's showing the consistent quality and the consistent brand and the personality and all these things that build your brand will help people connect and help people think about who they are or who you are in the business. And so again, consistency builds all these things so that you're kind of the go-to. You're the first thing that they think about, or they're interested in seeing what the latest update on your social media is, or website, whatever the media that we're talking about.
Yeah. And there are practical things that people can implement to help with this, right? You can create a posting schedule. You can batch content. What does that mean? It means creating a lot of content at one time that you're going to use over time. So there's that. And then, of course, you can repurpose content in so many different ways, especially if you have audio or video. You can use that to create more content. For example, this podcast, right? You're going to be able to listen to this on different platforms. You're going to be able to watch this over on YouTube. And then we're going to repurpose some of this and create reels to help people know what this episode is about. So there's all types of tricks you can do to help you be consistent. Now, Mitchell, I want to shift gears and talk about the quality, right? Because when we create content, yes, we want to be consistent, but there is a level of quality that we desire. And quality, I think, yes, it speaks to, the value of the production of the content, but also the quality of what you're saying. Are you making an impact? Are you changing lives? Are you helping people find hope and helping people know that there's a solution? And so I think having high quality content is so, so, so important. So Mitchell, I know you love quality. You have that eye, you want things well designed and aligned, as far as being on brand. And then even in this podcast, like what we look like, what we sound like. Not that it doesn't matter to me, but Mitchell, you have taken a special ownership of this, which I appreciate. So I would love to hear your thoughts, Mitchell. Like, what is actually like high high quality. We hear this term, have high quality content. Well, what actually makes it high versus, I don't know, low?
That's a great question. And the first, as you're talking about quality, reminds me of a conversation I just had with Jennifer, my wife. So she is definitely a salesperson. If she can get 100 things for $50, that's the biggest win of the week. Okay. She is, to use a sports analogy, she's moved down the football field. She's gained some yards when that happens. For me, I would much rather take that $100 bill and get one thing or two things. I'm just looking at the quality versus the quantity. And I think there's a healthy balance there. I mean, thinking content wise, can you only do this one amazing post or content, whatever the content is, every other 3 months? Or can you do consistency wise and then put out a lot of hot garbage and have something, throughout the entire day, multiple times for 3 months? I think there's a healthy balance there that one, you're consistent, but two, you're also putting out some good quality stuff. And as far as quality, as far as answering your question, I mean, now I don't know what your latest workspace is, but I know that you have a light, you painted the back wall, you have decorations specifically in the background. To me, that's putting time and effort and quality into what you're doing. Here, I have a light right here in front of me. I have a light behind me. Actually, there's a lot of window light that's shining light here. My background is showing exactly what I want you to see. That's quality stuff. That's using, cameras wise, but good cameras can be on your phone. So when you think quality, or when you say quality, that's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm thinking about as far as how to produce it. And then there's the other side of the content, of the actual thing that you're saying, or the thing you're promoting or whatever. So taking time to come up with what you're going to say. For me, it's better for me to write it out and to get all of my crazy, hot off the press thoughts organized to where that I can have some. You're smiling like that because that's exactly, me enough to know that. But for you, April, you're great off the cuff. Like it's just in you, and you're well organized in your brain, much more than me. So you're just able to speak to things very quickly. Maybe you need a script. Maybe you need to write something out verbatim and have it in front of you when you speak it. It just, everyone's different, but taking the time and effort and using resources around you to produce good quality content along with consistency, all of it's important.
Yeah. Before I speak to that, if you're listening to this, I want you to rewind this podcast about 90 seconds and listen to Mitchell say hot garbage. You don't want your content to be hot garbage. We are trademarking that phrase here at We Dream Media. Hey, we're going to help you get away from hot garbage, y'all.
Listen, I may be super trendy in the terms and words that I use, but I completely stole that from somebody. We would have to pay. It's probably already trademarked, so we would have to pay a lot of legal fees if we were to do that. So,
okay, good to know.
My buddy in Tulsa, John, shout out to you. But anyways, yeah, I totally stole it from him.
Okay, well, thanks, John, for that term. We actually like it. No, I thought that was funny. But yeah, you're actually right, Mitchell, about putting the time in, right? Because when we say high quality, everyone's going to be at different places in their journey. And sometimes we look at people who are 10 years in, and their high quality is because they were able to invest in all this fancy equipment. That's awesome. That's great to want to get there eventually. But it's almost like, what can you do with what you have, and how can you improve? What are the small little tweaks you can make? Getting a light, small little tweak you can make. Getting a microphone, small little tweak. Putting a nice picture in your background, small little tweak. So what are the little tweaks you can make to improve what you're putting out there? And I think if you always have that mindset of, I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, but knowing I'm open and looking to making the small improvements, that's going to go a long way. So I hope you are encouraged by the wisdom that Mitchell dropped today and the things that I was able to share. If we had to give you a few takeaways today, number one, listen to this. Know that creating consistent, high quality content is possible for you. It's possible. Start with creating a schedule. That's the simplest thing that you could do. Just decide, I'm going to post these days on these platforms and stick to the schedule. And then pick a day where you're going to work on creating your content. Super simple. Pick a day you're going to work on your content. Pick a day and time you're going to create your posting schedule. That's just the foundational place to start. Mitchell, any final words of wisdom or encouragement as people are tiptoeing? I feel like people are going to be watching this and they're like, all right, I'm going to put my toe in the water and then I'm going to see what you have to say on the rest of these episodes this month before I fully jump in. But to someone that's putting their toe in the water today, what would you say to them?
So I'd say do it. I say keep consistency up. Think about your quality. One practical step that we hit on last month on our season 4, talking about how to produce a podcast. But there's a ton of free resources out there. There's a ton of templates that are out there that you can kind of plug and play. I will say there's so much out there. It takes a little bit to find what works, but it's out there. So if you do your research and you figure out something that works for you and your brand, and where you can, some of it's plug and play, find it and make it work for you. That way it'll help. It kind of helps, use another analogy or word or whatever, but it helps you eat the elephant one bite at a time. So, because it can be overwhelming for some. So if you're able to find something that works for you as far as a free resource or whatever kind of paid resource, if you have that ability, then it's out there. You just have to go find it.
Yeah, we hope you're encouraged today. Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. Hit the follow on all the different platforms. We're excited about your content creation journey. If we can help you in any way, you want to hop on a consulting call, let's see how we can work together, send us a DM. We would love to do that. So until the next episode, together, we dream media.